Hello viewers, to all in the Lord Jesus Christ, and welcome everyone. We want to continue where we ended in the journey of the Israelites and the promises between him and his people. Let's pray. Thank you, dear Jesus, for you are a gracious Lord. Even this day, may you, Father, speak unto us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We ended where the Lord had remembered the agreement he had made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob upon the descendants that they would have. And now it was at the end of the 400 years rather, that the Israelites had been enslaved in the land of Egypt. And the scripture we read told us that there was a new Pharaoh, and the new Pharaoh did not know them somewhere, and that is why he had multiplied the bondage, the slavery. But somewhere, somehow, the Lord gets to feel the taste of their slavery, because he is in agreement with them. We want to continue with chapter 3 of Exodus. Chapter 3 of Exodus. But from the previous, we said from verse 24 of chapter 2 that God had their groaning and remembered his covenant. Yes, we said that God hears our cries, God remembers his agreement. In chapter 3, verse 1 says, "Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb." Verse 2, "And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed." I want to continue. Verse 3, "And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I." Verse 5, "And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is a holy ground." The passage we have read tells us that one Moses did not lack a job, and his occupation was that he was a sheep keeper, a shepherd. And the sheep he was taking care of were not his, but for his father-in-law, Jethro, who was the father to Zipporah. What we are told here is that where he was doing all this was upon Mount Horeb. And upon Mount Horeb is where the angel of the Lord appeared unto him. When the angel appeared unto him in a flame of fire, there are things that happened. One of the things that happened is in verse 2, he looked. And when he looked, the bush was on fire, yet was not getting consumed. Those are the wonders he's experiencing. The bush is on fire, but there is nothing getting consumed, yet the nature of the fire is to consume and eat up whatever it is. When Moses decides in verse 3 that I will now turn aside and see this great sight. Earlier Moses was just looking, But when he decides to turn and see why the bush is not burnt, verse 4 tells us, it is when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see that God called out unto him from the midst. And that is when he called Moses, Moses. Before we go deep into the journey of the Israelites, let's speak lessons from this. That the Lord is willing to speak each and every one of us. The Lord is willing to speak each and every one of us. Step number one he had to do is to come close to Moses. He came close to Moses in the easiest possible way that Moses could be able to meet with him. God came close. The Lord is always willing to come close to us. Step number two is that we need to take a step to look. We need to get concerned. We need to turn to him. He is always near us, but we need to also make our minds ready for him. We need to turn, because it is only when Moses turned that the Lord called him. If you and I are not willing, the Lord will not use us. Some of us are in the midst of the fire. Some of us are outside the fire. Whether you are in the midst of the fire or out of the fire, the Lord is near. The Lord is near. May the Lord help us to know that whatever conditions we are facing, the Lord is with us. Whether in the midst of the fire or out of the fire, the Lord is close to us. We need to decide. We need to decide whether to turn and look upon him or not. In the fire, the Lord will save us. Near the fire, the Lord will save us. But are we ready to turn to him? This site originally was meant that Moses would speak with God, and God would finally send him as a messenger to the men in the bondage. But initially, Moses had to be concerned. May the Lord help us. That even when we are in the midst of the fire, the Lord is ready to save us. Are we willing to turn? Some of us, the fire is not consuming us because the Lord's hand is with us. But may the Lord help us to keep looking upon him. Because when we look upon him, he will save us. When we turn aside and look to our own way, we shall be consumed by the fire. The main reason as to why we are not consumed by the fire is because the hand of grace, the hand of God is with us. May the Lord help us. The Israelites were in bondage. The Lord needed a messenger like Moses. The messenger needed to show concern. It is only when Moses turned aside that the Lord was able to call upon him. Lastly, the response from Moses was, "Here am I." If you and I are not willing, even our presence might not be. May the Lord help us that we believe. May the Lord help us that when we listen to his voice, we say, "Here am I," just like Moses did. May the Lord bless you. Thank you so much. Meet in the next video.